This commentary will take you through all 8 headlines from the media text articles in the pre-release booklet. It will highlight how the writer has used language to get the reader's attention. A headline's job is to raise our interest in the article and get us reading the first paragraph. They do this by giving clues about the article and often linking in with any pictures that are used. So what might you be asked in an exam? Well, previous exam questions on the media text have often, but not always, required candidates to discuss the impact of a particular headline. So this year, one bullet point may ask you to comment on a headline from a text. You should consider how the headline gets the interest of the reader. You should definitely comment on how language is used to do this. A response to a headline will only be worth a small number of marks, so you should spend just 5 minutes maximum writing this part of your media text answer. Right, let's get on with looking at each headline in turn, starting on page 4 with BA scraps its sandwiches and hunger for savings. This headline gives clues to the article's content with reference to British Airways, sandwiches and saving money. The diagram showing the flying sandwich helps the readers to understand this article will be about the cost of food on airlines. The first thing to point out is the alliteration, or more specifically the sibilance, which is used here. Journalists often borrow this technique from poetry to make the headline sound catchy or rhythmic. The S sound is used in the case of this headline. Next, the writer has used a pun in the word hunger. A pun is a linguistic joke which conveys more than one meaning at a time. Here the word hunger obviously refers to food and sandwiches, but it also shows how desperate BA are to cut costs and save money. The headline is also overly dramatic through the use of scraps and hunger. The writer is trying to exaggerate the importance of BA's actions to make it sound more interesting. At the end of the day, all BA has done is decide to stop serving sandwiches on its flights. The next headline is on page 5, Do a Pig a Favour, Ban Vegetarianism Now. The reference to pigs and vegetarians in this headline suggests some kind of disagreement between people who eat meat and those who don't. Notice the use of exclamation marks here which instantly grab the reader's attention because they suggest a number of things: shouting, drama, tension and emotion. The writer uses command verbs to address the reader. The words do and ban tell us to act now. The reader wants to find out why we are being ordered to do something. These commands also convey drama and urgency. Lastly, the headline contains the strange idea of banning vegetarianism. Usually we talk about eating less meat and more veg, but this writer is suggesting the opposite, so it's unusual. This raises questions in the reader's mind. Why do we want to ban vegetarianism? How would we do this? Do we really want to? This is a strong opinion, and we are tempted to read the article to find out what has upset the writer. Jack Sprat, Fair Trade Food, It Just Tastes Better on page 6, clearly indicates that the article will be about the fair trade campaign for fair prices for third world farmers. It references the Jack Sprat Can Eat No Fat nursery rhyme, hinting about healthy appetites and tasty food. The alliteration of fair trade food keeps it catchy and helps to turn the rest of the headline into a motto or a slogan. The words, It Just Tastes Better, are used a number of times elsewhere on the article, and the writer uses this slogan as a selling point to encourage the reader to buy fair trade products. The headline on page 7, If Jamie Oliver Can't Change Our Eating Habits, Who Can?, is obviously about healthy eating because of what we associate Jamie Oliver with. The use of a celebrity's name like this is sometimes called name dropping, and Oliver's name catches the reader's attention because he's famous. The headline is written as a rhetorical question, one that does not require an answer. This gets the reader thinking why Jamie Oliver has failed to change eating habits, especially as most people would have been under the impression he did a lot to make huge changes. The rhetorical question therefore suggests people's diets are just as bad as they were before, and that there is little left that can be done. The use of the pronoun our draws the reader in because it makes us all feel like we eat badly and have poor diets. Finally, the headline has highlighted a problem to solve, namely our poor diets. This affects everybody, and so the reader is likely to read on to find out what the writer suggests must be done. On page 8, there is a very straightforward headline, Food for Uganda. It is simple and factual and doesn't contain any opinionated or figurative language. To make it more interesting, the writer refers to the location where the article is focused, Uganda. This might hint to the reader the issues of starvation and poverty. We also get a picture of this place, so the reader can visualise what it's like. The brief use of alliteration through the F sound helps make this factual headline a little bit more catchy to read. On page 9 is the headline, Junk Food Dummies, How Binging on Burgers and Chips Can Drain Your Brain Power. There are a few points you can mention here about this one, which gives obvious clues to the content of the article when you see the picture of the young man about to eat the huge burger. First, there is a pun. Junk Food Dummies is a play on words of the well-known phrase crash test dummies. When we think of crash dummies, we picture lifeless mannequins. The pun is hinting that people who eat junk food are just as useless and lifeless. The writer uses alliteration. The B sound here makes a hard sound, which conveys the idea of stupidity. The reader is directly addressed through the pronoun your. This makes anyone reading the headline feel they are at risk of lowering their intelligence if they eat junk food. It therefore engages the reader in the issue. A metaphor, drain, is used to create the impression of waste. The message is, if you eat junk food, it's like pouring your intelligence down the drain like liquid waste. Lastly, the writer makes the headline more catchy through rhyme. Drain and brain also sound quite monotonous or dull, so you could again make the point that the headline sounds stupid and dumb, which reflects the article's content. Mary's Meals in Nairobi, Kenya, on page 10, is another simple and purely factual headline. Its job is to advertise and promote the charity which does its work in Kenya. The location of Nairobi, the capital of Kenya, is mentioned to give the reader some geographical context, and the alliteration of Mary's Meals makes it just a little bit more catchy to read. The eighth and final headline, on page 11, Scientists dig up fresh doubts about going organic, hints that some research has been done about organic food, and by reading the article you'll find out the results. A metaphor, dig up, is used to make it more interesting, which makes the reader visualise scientists in white coats literally digging for the results in the ground. The writer uses a pun in fresh, which conveys both the fact that the results are new and the idea of fresh veg. This second image also links in with the picture of the freshly dug carrots. The reader also has their interest raised by the word doubt. This hints that there is an ongoing debate over organic food and whether it's worth buying. This may tempt some readers to look further into the article. So in conclusion, let's summarise what you should write about in response to headlines. First, mention what the headline says, and think about how it gives clues about the main text's content. Importantly, you should comment on how it interests the reader through the use of figurative techniques, such as metaphors or alliteration, or the use of puns. You could also mention how it links in with any of the pictures that are used. Always remember to use quotes to back up your points. These should be individual words and phrases, like in the examples you've been shown, rather than the whole headline in one big chunk. To finish, we'll look at an example headline analysis. Here's a typical question that you might be asked about a headline. Question: look at the headline of the article on page 11. Write about what makes it engaging and effective. Now have a look at this model answer. The headline interests the reader by using the metaphor dig up, which suggests something factual has been discovered. It also refers to agriculture, which links in with the picture of the carrots. The word fresh is interesting because it's a pun. It refers to both something new, the doubts about organic food, and fresh veg. That concludes this video commentary on the use of headlines in the media texts. Please check the PortchesterSchool YouTube channel for more helpful videos on the media texts and all of the poems in the pre-release booklet. Good luck in your exams.